Your girl's with someone who she's one, slept with.
I did bring it up with her a few days ago, and she told me that no, the connection isn't there, but it's just a matter of not now. Does Zayn see it, or will Zayn be like, oh, that was so good the last time?
This episode is vindication for Dylan. This episode is vindication for the Dylan Defense League, because for episodes and episodes on end, we've been told that Dylan is an F-boy. He's been called names. He's been called everything under the sun because apparently he's not loyal. He's jumping from girl to girl. And yet everybody has sat there and watched the real villains, Zayn and Taylor, and not said anything. Zayn, when he came into the villa, the girls were after him. So he coupled up with Mimi, and then Mimi jumped ship and she went to Dylan, and he coupled up with Zanti because he needed to stay in the villa. And from Zanti, he jumped ship and he went to Kayla, and then from Kayla he's in bed, or he's doing whatever he was doing with his hands or whatever else he was using with Sophie. Nobody's saying anything about that. Taylor, we've seen him. He's come in. He's gone to Alicia because she showed him interest. When Alicia went home, he coupled up with M. And then he had 3 girls on the go. And we all saw him last episode crying when Hannah was leaving. And we all thought he was leaving. And yet here he is making out with Chrissy. Make that make sense. I don't want to hear anyone criticize Dylan again. Dylan is a saint compared to everybody else in the villa. And I stand on that. And I don't care what people say. Anyway, hey there. My rant is over. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island Australia Season 6, Episode 18. So the islanders wake up, and obviously it's a mess in the villa because people are not in their romantic couplings. They are in the couples that they were in and that they've stopped exploring connections with. So the islanders go outside. The girls are having a debrief, and all they can talk about, or everybody seems to want to talk about, is Mia and Nico. I have a feeling the producers' pick for winners are Mia and Nico, if not Sophie and Zayn. That's the impression that I'm getting because it doesn't make sense. Anyway, so they receive a text message to say that you need to make yourself presentable. You're expecting a guest. They thought it was a bombshell or it was a performance. Turns out to be Sophie Monk. Sophie Monk reveals that they're going to have Hotel Amor. So what's going to happen is people are going to be coupled up and they're going to go away for 24 hours. There won't be any cameras and they get to do whatever they want to do. And it's like you're on a reality show. How realistic is that you wouldn't have cameras? How realistic? So they're told you can't speak to anyone. Girls sit on your own, boys sit on your own. And you can't speak to anyone unless you're speaking to Sophie Monk. And it's like, it's about to be messy. It really is. And you can see who the producers are aiming for. Because first up is Nico. He's given Mia, make it make sense. What's the temptation there? They're already in a couple. The previous night you made them pick each other. If you wanted to be messy, you could have put Nico with Chrissy to see if there's still anything there or whether he's really serious about Mia. That would have made more sense. Give them 24 hours. Let them explore that connection. Let's see if there's anything there. If there's nothing there, fine. If there is something there, then they continue from there. But no, they're trying to promote Nico's second chance at finding love. So they've sent him away with Mia. And I don't get it. Next up is Zayn. Zayn is coupled up with Sophie. My heart is broken for Dylan. I'm devastated because Dylan, the episode before, was asking Sophie, is there anything there? And she was saying there's nothing there. So I really am devastated for him. I know I've been on Twitter. I shouldn't go on Twitter before I do my reviews, but I couldn't find the episode, so it took me a while. Anyway, so Sophie is saying she's shaking. Zayn is saying he knew it because of his history. He knew he was going to either be coupled up with Sophie or with Kayla. You can see the excitement on his face that he's happy that he's not having to spend 24 hours with Kayla. And it's like, what went wrong with Kayla? Make it make sense. I don't get this. I really don't get it because Zayn could have been coupled up with anyone. He could have been coupled up with Mimi. They were a couple day one. Why didn't they couple him up with that person, somebody totally different? You have Kayla. Kayla is panicking because she was excited. She thought she'd get to go with Zayn and they would get to spend time alone away from everyone because she's still in the dark. She doesn't know that Zayn is saying there's no spark there. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Dylan Dylan is sad. Dylan is sad because obviously he's had this conversation with Sophie. She's promised him that there's nothing there. And suddenly she's getting to go away with this man for 24 hours to do whatever. I don't even know. Next up is Mercedes. Mercedes is coupled up with M. Do we want to pretend to be surprised? No, because this is a given. The producers have couples that they're after and they have people that they're trying to accommodate and give the best to. So I'm not surprised that M got to go with Mercedes. They're both excited to be going together. So no one is shocked there. Next up, we have Steph. Steph gets to go with Kayla. He is taken aback. I don't think he wanted to go with Kayla. And it doesn't make sense why they didn't send him with Chrissy, because Chrissy could have been sent with a lot of people outside of Taylor, because she's explored a connection with Steph. She's explored a connection with Nico. If they really were being genuine and being honest and not trying to fake and sort of push people together, they could have sent Chrissy with Steph, but no, they sent him with Kayla. And he actually spoke up and said, Kayla and I haven't exchanged a word in the villa, so it's going to be a bit strange. And she is sort of taken aback because she can't understand why she's been matched to this person that she hasn't even spoken to. He's spoken to Chrissy, but he hasn't spoken to Kayla. Unless you're saying the super fans were confused and didn't know who was who, then otherwise that coupling doesn't make sense. Next up is Dylan. Dylan is coupled up with Mimi. I don't get it. I really don't get it, because they tried it. There wasn't anything there. They both agreed that there was nothing there. So the idea that the producers or the super fans would think that they need to get them to try and revisit doesn't make sense. For me, it to some extent, I guess, because Chrissy has been refusing to share a bed with Dylan. This is why they didn't want to sort of send them away together. So I guess his only other option outside of Sophie was Mimi. So it makes sense to some extent, but to me it doesn't. And next up, so last up is Taylor. Taylor is matched with Chrissy. Anyone surprised? No, let's not pretend to be shocked, because at the end of the day, they were always going to do what was in Chrissy's best interest and what was in Taylor's best interest. I have a feeling he got the option to choose since his partner went home. So he was given the option to choose and he chose to go with Chrissy, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. They could have easily sent him with, Kayla, but then obviously he had this, I have this bro code. And maybe he wouldn't have done anything. So the producers are hoping that if they send him with Chrissy, he can do something and they can be a couple. But I really am not buying it, and I don't get why they've been coupled up. I personally thought, is anyone else confused? I thought all the islanders were going to be put up in the same beat. If it's a resort, they would put them in their sort of little bungalows, like what they do on Love is Blind or Married at First Sight. But actually what they did is they rented out, houses along the island or wherever they are in Spain. And then when you look at it, some people got amazing sort of places to stay, and others got the short end of the stick. I think the people that got the best deal were M and Mercedes, Taylor and Chrissy, and what's his name? Nico and Mia. They got the better end of the stick. With also they gave, well, okay, if I were to rank it, I would say number one is they've given it to Zayn and Sophie. I think they want something to happen there. They really want something. They want them to rekindle. And then they're followed by M and Mercedes, followed by Chrissy and Taylor, and then Nico and Mia, and then you have Steph and Kayla. The people that got the wrong end of the stick, the people that got the short stick is Mimi and Dylan. You only have just one little room that you walk into. It seems like it's someone's guest room that they've been put up in, because there's a door to enter. You don't see where you go to the toilet or anything. There's no sort of like a side door, and then there's a small window. I don't even remember the window, and that's it. Whereas everybody else has got, some have got a hot tub, some have got a pool, and it's like, wow. Is this what we're aiming for? So are we saying that these are the people that we want in the top? These are the people that we're trying to give the best dates? That way the viewers can fall in love with them. Make it make sense. I don't get it. You have, Taylor and Chrissy. They're happy. Chrissy's happy to finally be laying in a bed because she's been laying on a settee for a couple of days. Nico, he's excited. He's happy to be with his person because at the end of the day, that's the only person he wanted to be coupled up with. With M and Mercedes, they might as well have gone on a couples retreat because they are on cloud 9. They're not bothered about anybody else. You have Steph, he's having a conversation with Kayla because Kayla feels some type of way about the fact that, you know, Zayn has managed to go with Sophie. And so she's worried that something might go wrong. And she reveals the secret, which is not a good look because what's going to happen is, I have a feeling Steph is going to run with it to Dylan because she told Steph that, oh, you know, after we were in the hideaway, Sophie told me you have nothing to worry about. He's amazing in bed. So now I'm worrying that are they going to rekindle? And it's like, yeah, they are. They are. Because at the end of the day, it seems like Sophie, as much as she likes Dylan, she still has that what if in the back of her mind, and so she's going to go after it if she realizes that, you know, this guy Zayn doesn't like Kayla as much as she thought he did. You have Mimi and Dylan, they're just on cloud nine. Mimi is saying we don't understand why we're here. Dylan is saying we actually said we're done, there's nothing there, there's nothing to revisit, so it's shocking that we're here. You know, Mimi saying I'm with my best friend's boyfriend who happens to be my ex, which makes sense. And so I don't even get why they've been coupled. You have Sophie and Zayn, they're the last ones to visit their accommodation. Oh my God, they've got red roses here. They've got this massive bed. It looks like a, you know, executive suite. And it's like, why are we giving them the best? Is it because we're aiming to be messy? We want them to actually make out? Is that what we're aiming for? Are we trying to get them to rekindle? So they go into the hot tub and they start having a conversation with Sophie sort of asking, how do you feel? They're both sort of trying to test the water with one another, and they both are concerned that Dylan, how will he feel about the two of them being a couple and being at this retreat for 24 hours? And it's like, well, why should he worry? He did ask you. Sophie reveals, oh, Dylan asked me, is there anything still there? And now that we're here, you know, I don't know whether there's anything to explore. Anyway, when we were paired, he's the first person I looked at. And Zayn said, yeah, he's the first person I looked at. I didn't even look at Kayla. And it's like, oh my God. And then he reveals that, oh, I don't feel anything for Kayla. So this is opening the door to Sophie, because Sophie's now saying, oh, my head is now scrambled because I don't know what to do, because now he's saying that, you know, him and Kayla, things are not okay. And it's like, why would you want to be his second choice? You're not even his second choice, you're his third choice. When you've got someone who really likes you and you said this crazy about you, why would you want to go back and revisit something that didn't work in the real world? This guy is always going to be a hit it and quit it with you, because this, it seems, has been your relationship. So the idea that you would even consider that doesn't make sense to me. Dylan is just... he's the sweetest guy, and it's sad that he's getting the short end of the stick, given how people were sort of name-calling and criticizing him at the start. So the Islanders then get to receive messages from the superfans, and you know it's about to be messy. You know that it's something stupid. It's something just to create drama. So the first question is, what did you think when you first saw each other? And you have Mia and Nico. You know, Mia saying when she saw the back of Nico's head, she really liked him. So, you know, she is happy with him. He says more or less the same thing. They're never going to say anything different, because at the end of the day, they are each other's only hope of staying in the villa. Well, maybe they like each other that much. I don't know. You have Mercedes and M. Mercedes was a bit sort of worried because M has this guard that she has up. And I think it can be a bit sort of scary to people who don't know how to confront her or how to approach her. So that makes sense. Sophie and Zayn, what did you think when you first saw each other? Well, they already knew one another, so they were happy to see each other there. At least it was someone that you know, more or less, and they were sort of questioning, you know, what would happen. The next question is, how important is physical touch in a relationship? Everybody agrees that physical touch is important. Everybody says physical touch is part and parcel of the relationship. So it has to be in a good space in order for it to work. And it's like these questions, for people that are exploring their connection for the first time, it makes sense that they ask each other these questions. But for people like Sophie and Zayn that have already been there, it's just trying to push them, give them a not even a gentle nudge, a heavy nudge in that direction. That's what the producers are aiming for, in my opinion. And then you have Taylor and Chrissy. Have you ever thought about being with each other? Obviously they have. When they were exploring the connection and when they were chatting. Taylor was open to anyone as long as he didn't get to stay with me, with M. That's the impression that I get. So he was open to anyone trying to explore a connection with him because he really wanted to jump ship and could hardly wait to jump ship. Everybody else, well, Mimi and Dylan say we've already been there, done that, so there's no idea that we would want to go back. So, it is what it is. All the other couples, I think, are exploring connections outside of all the other couples were already exploring connections. So the only people that were in awkward situations were people like Steph and Kayla, and you had Sophie and Zayn, and then you had Mimi and Dylan. And Mimi and Dylan have already said no. Sophie and Zayn are saying, well, on the outside, according to Sophie, when they started dating, she was looking for a relationship and thought they would actually be partners, but he didn't seem to be going that way. He then sort of was asked the question and he sort of debated for a bit and then came back with, I have thought about it. I have thought about exploring this. And she had to ask him, was it on the inside or was it while we're outside? And he went, on the inside. And it's like, that's because his options are restricted. He's only got very minimal options. This is why he's making you an option. I don't get why you're wasting your time with someone who really is not that into you and who shut you down on day one because he was with Santi. If he really was interested in you, he should have shown interest before, you got to know Dylan, but he didn't do that. Anyway, the next question is, the superfans would like to test your chemistry with the kiss. Everybody shares a kiss. They really are excited. Some are overexcited. People like Zayn are overexcited because, people like M and Mercedes, they've already kissed before, so it's nothing new. The only awkward couple to kiss are Steph and Kayla, because Steph and Kayla have not even had romantic connection or explored a romantic connection at all. So for them to kiss is oaks galore, because this is something that's just come out of left field. But they kissed. Steph said, the kiss was good, but it was not as good as Mimi. With Dylan, I give him credit because Dylan said, Steph is my guy, so I'm not going to disrespect him. So he kissed Mimi on the cheek and she kissed him on the other cheek. Everybody else enjoyed their kisses. Am I the only one who remembers seeing Taylor cry when Hannah left and walking her up to the door and giving her a hug and a kiss? So the audacity for him to actually lift Chrissy like a little baby and put her on his lap and kiss her and then lift her back to her place doesn't make sense to me. The way that Taylor did that is just shocking. I wonder how Hannah feels when she sees that. And then you have Zayn. Where is the bro code? Where is the respect? You've been with Dylan since day one. You've seen his connection. You see how well they get along with Sophie. So the idea that you would jump in full force, yes, I'm upset with Sophie. I'm very disappointed because I feel like she's disrespected Dylan. He didn't deserve that. If she had a strong connection with him and she really liked him and she spoke about respect when he coupled up with Chrissy, where is the same respect? Where is the same respect? Where is the bro code? I'm so furious. I know I liked her with Dylan. I still like her with Dylan, but I'm furious. I still am very furious because it doesn't make sense. The producers are going to be messy. They tried to push them together when she walked in and it didn't work. So they looked for a second way of doing it and they've coupled them up. And now they have them laying, in the villa or whatever this resort is together. Yes, they're trying to push them, but they don't have to bite. Anyway, you have the Islanders back in their rooms. They're all getting ready for the night. You have the Islanders back in their rooms. They're getting ready for the night. And when it comes to Nico and his girl, Mia, it makes me question a lot of things because the way they're behaving, it's not as though they're romantically attracted unless they're trying to be respectful and not sort of upset or disrespect their family by doing anything inappropriate, because their kisses and pecks are those of people that are just friends. They don't look like they really have this romantic fire, this urge to be with one another. So I don't quite get it. You have M and Mercedes. They're in a good space. They're happy. They've been making out all day and they're sort of seeing how it will be on the real world. Do I think they will work? Maybe, because this is the most comfortable I've seen M in a relationship. So I actually think maybe she actually does like Mercedes more than she liked Taylor. So that could make sense. You have Taylor with Chrissy. They're in a good space. Chrissy says, she's very happy to be with Taylor because he's the only person she wanted to be with. And she's happy that they shared a kiss. It was very cute. And so she's contemplating whether she needs to initiate another kiss or wait for Taylor to initiate a kiss. I don't know what's going to happen with that messy bunch. He sort of lifts her and throws her on the bed. And it's like he's using her like his toy. I worry for her. I wonder if she's safe. You then have Dylan and Mimi. They're having their little spa day. They're sort of doing their facials. They're putting on face masks, and it's the cutest thing ever. It's the cutest thing ever. And so for Mimi is messy. I don't know why she doesn't want to see Dylan happy. Is it because she wants him back or what? Because she sort of brings up, how do you feel about Sophie being with Zayn? And she knows, Dylan feels some type of way. He is worried. Oh, how do you feel? Because they've already got that history. They've slept together, and she's told everybody that he's amazing in bed. And it's like, why would you say that? Why would you feel that that was necessary to share with the rest of the class? Why not just keep it to yourself? Why would you feel the need to let this man stress more than he's actually stressed? He didn't need to hear that, and he didn't need to know that. You're not the only person that Sophie told this, and yet you are the one who's always bringing in the toxic mess. Make it make sense? So all the couples go to bed, and I think they've been told that, there's hidden cameras, because you have Chrissy messing about, rubbing herself on Taylor, and he's not pushing her off. Given the fact that the night before he was crying for Hannah, I don't get how he's gone from crying for Hannah to suddenly telling her, oh, you're about to start something. And it's like, oh my God, do we think they did something? I think they did. I really think they did something. I wouldn't be surprised if they did. You have Mercedes and Em, they are on cloud 9. They're doing what needs to be done in order to secure their bond. With Nico and Mia, I don't know whether it's out of respect for their families that they're not doing anything, or whether they are not romantically there. I'm questioning it a lot, and so I can't wait to see what happens with that. Mimi and Dylan have decided to be respectful to their partners, and they're not going to do anything. Dylan obviously is still stressed about Sophie because he doesn't know what's going on with Sophie and Zayn. You have Kayla and Steph. They're not doing anything. They're on cloud 9. They're just happy. You have Kayla stressing about Zayn because you don't know what's happening with Zayn. And the producers got what they wanted, because we didn't get to hear any of the noises from all the other rooms, but we definitely got to hear surround sound of Sophie and Zayn and whatever else they did. Sophie says that, they decided to kiss and they decided to use their hands to explore. Hopefully that's all they did. But the sounds don't make it seem like that. In the morning, you have people reflecting on their night and what happened. We barely got to see anything from Nico and Mia, which tells me that they're either boring or they're smooth sailing or nothing is happening, because I'm surprised we didn't get to see anything. You have Taylor and Chrissy. Taylor is happy. Chrissy is happy because she feels like there is something there that they can explore, because there is the physical chemistry. You have Steph and Kayla. Kayla saying that, she doesn't understand why they needed to be coupled up. Maybe it's because the superfans wanted to test Zayn and Sophie, so that's why they uncoupled them and coupled them with other people. And they also wanted to sort of test Mimi and Dylan. But Mimi and Dylan have been very respectful. I commend Dylan. Mimi and Dylan are having a conversation. They're trying to suss out who did something and who didn't. And so they agreed that Mercedes definitely did something with M. They agreed that Nico and Mia did something. They sort of question whether Steph did anything, but they think that he might not have done something. Steph has been on too many shows. You wouldn't go to Australia to be a jackass, flying all that way, 20-something plus hours to be a jackass on TV. So obviously it then comes up to Sophie and Zayn, and there is a worry that what will happen now? What will they do? And Dylan is concerned because Mimi is saying you're acting very calm, and he's saying I am acting calm, but I am concerned, I am worried. And this shows you that he really likes her. This is why he was asking her, how do you feel about Zayn? Because had she been loyal to him, he would have gone in, all in. But then now it's going to be a problem, because he says if he's talking to a girl and she sleeps with somebody else, then he doesn't give her a second chance, he moves on. And so given the fact that Sophie, well, she's denying that they had sex. She said that they kissed and they did some hand stuff. So I don't know what hand stuff that was that made that noise. And I'm going to be very disappointed if she doesn't go back to Dylan, because I love Dylan. I think he's an amazing guy. And I think he deserves to find love. If he can't find this person, then he can go home. I always thought Sophie and Dylan were going to be the Nate and Georgia of this season, because last season the producers try and push Georgia to have sex with Trent, because they actually went to the extent of giving them condoms and she didn't bite. So the idea that Sophie had someone who really likes her, and she said it in the previous episode that, Dylan really likes her and is worried that she might be interested in somebody else. And so for her to know that and then still go ahead and have sex with this man, I don't get it. This man is like watching, you know, paint dry. He's so boring. He's so dry. So I don't get what it is in particular that girls like, unless it's just the fact that he's good in bed. Otherwise, there's nothing else about him that stands out, in my opinion. There's nothing else to write home about when it comes to this man. So if Sophie has definitely gone full force with him, I don't know. I don't know how long it will last. I think it will last as long as the urge to sort of bump uglies lasts, and then it will be over, because long term he's not going to be challenging intellectually for her enough for her to sort of stay in a relationship with him. So I can't wait to see what happens with the two of them. I really can't. And I feel sorry for my girl, because, well, not my girl. I feel sorry for Dylan, because I think Dylan deserved better. I think he deserved better. If she's going to keep him on the show, if she's going to recouple with him and keep him on the show, and he can win the money, that's all I want for him, because he deserves better. After having to endure everything he's endured on this show, he deserves to win. He really does deserve to win. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 17. Bye guys.